Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a weight loss hypnosis session created for a client that had an all or nothing approach to weight loss. So they would really be diligent and focused on different strategies, and that might be a strategy like fasting or Atkins or keto or paleo. And when they were on it, they really were on it. So they clearly had very powerful resources, but the problem is that they couldn't sustain it. And there's normally two reasons why someone can't sustain a strategy. And one is that it's not realistic to be sustained. You can't live that way forever. And I look at certain ways of living as revolutionary change, and they might be helpful for small periods of time. But if there is a presupposition that it has to be like this forever, most people wouldn't sign up for that. So that's one of the key things, that it isn't realistic. And the second is that a different part is pulling in a different direction. And you see this a lot with New Year's resolutions, where someone will, in the moment, say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm only going to eat salads. I'm never going to eat any crap ever again. And then 3 days later, they're tucking into a burger or ice cream or pizza, because there's another part of them that really craves pleasure or has beliefs that food is pleasure. And food is meant to be pleasurable. But this idea of it being all or nothing leads to yo-yo dieting. It leads to the frustration of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And it feels like a tug of war. That's really what inner conflict feels like. So if you ever use the word struggle and difficult and frustrating when it comes to losing weight, there probably is some form of inner conflict there. So in this session, there's a few things that it's kind of built around. One is the idea that perfectionism isn't desirable, it's actually a trap, and that excellence is a much more desirable outcome. Because perfectionism, if the criteria for perfection is that there is zero room for improvement, that is an unwinnable strategy. And if I've learned anything as a therapist, people don't want to play the game if the game isn't winnable. So perfectionism has the illusion of being desirable. Actually, it's a trap. It's a paradise that doesn't exist. So replacing that with the idea of consistent excellence is replacing a fantasy with a difficult yet achievable reality. But in doing so, there is an element of acceptance and commitment therapy, letting go of things from the past that might be holding them back. And then a metaphor for inner conflict. And it comes from this idea of, if you had 2 people in a kayak that had different ideas of where they wanted to get to, then actually neither of them get to go to their destination. It's a constant battle. If the 2 members of the kayak agree on where they're going, then they can actually make progress. So this is a form of parts negotiation, parts integration. So they're working as one rather than 2 separate parts pulling in different directions, and then direct suggestions as to what that actually means for this person's reality, which is really about slow, steady, sensible, consistent choices, which for most people, once they figure out how to do that, they can live that way forever. And then you don't need to be on diets and regimes and all these kind of plans. You lose all of that struggle, and that's really what gets in the way. Most people on a weight loss journey have rules attached. right, I'll stick to this diet, but only if I keep losing weight, only if I see progress. And actually that is a trap. The optimal way is to find a way of living where losing weight is the side effect rather than the purpose. And when you do that, that's normally moving more, being more active, having healthy choices, reasonable portions, but also enjoying life on the journey. Too much control is out of control. And if you find that you don't want to play the game or it's all or nothing, actually you might find there's inner conflict there, or just that the strategy is leading to a feeling of deprivation and unhappiness. And humans don't want to do that for any longer than a very short period of time. So if you feel like a bespoke hypnosis session may help remove some blocks that may be impeding your weight loss journey, feel free to click the link in the show notes where you can schedule a free consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, you probably will benefit from this if you have experienced struggle or conflict when trying to lose weight, even though it was created for someone else. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel that they're being released. As you breathe in deeper than you normally would, and as you exhale, breathe out for longer, noticing that the deeper you breathe, the more resourceful you feel, and the more of whatever is holding you back is being released. As you breathe in a feeling, a magical feeling of resourcefulness. Your unconscious already knows the resources you need more of. And perhaps you're still holding on to echoes of the past that were real at one point in time, and now just feel that patterns are being played out for things that are no longer relevant. And what if it's time to consider letting go of some of those things in the past? Breathe in and breathe out, and use the power of your imagination to imagine a hiking trail through woodland that lead to a lake. Imagine seeing the trees, feeling a sense of strength and movement as you take step by step through the forest, breathing in fresh air, feeling that tension is just draining from your body. I want you to notice every now and then the smell in the air, perhaps leaves of the trees, and maybe every now and then sunlight shines through the branches. And I want you to get a sense that every step forward feels like progress. And and continue to make progress, one step at a time. Because in walking and hiking, there is no teleportation. There is no all or nothing in walking. You can only make progress one step at a time. And feel that in so many other areas of your life, it's better to make progress that's real than to pursue perfection that's simply a fantasy. So as you take step after step through the forest, you find a clearing that leads on to a beautiful, picturesque lake. See a wooden pier that goes out into the lake, and connected to that pier is a two-person kayak. Two spaces which feel strange because there's only one of you. But I want you to feel, as you're there by the side of the lake, that something is impeding you from even walking down the pier. I want you to see that there is a rope attached to a heavy, heavy chest, almost like an old pirate's treasure chest. But there is no treasure in this chest. This chest is filled with memories of the past that are still holding you back. Maybe you weren't given the understanding you needed. Maybe there's criticism, rejection, failure in this chest. But I want you to feel that there is a rope attached to the chest, and that same rope is attached to you. The chest is so heavy that it would take all the energy in the world to drag it even a small amount. And yet you desire to go on the kayak. You desire to go on a journey towards a desirable future. So I want you to get a sense that you have a choice. You can be emotionally attached to your past and let patterns repeat and repeat like Groundhog Day for the rest of your life. Or you can decide that you are not a child anymore. That there was a time when perhaps you needed food to comfort you, food to distract you, food to make you feel better. But you are not that person anymore. So consider this a choice. Remain attached to the past, or decide to break away from that past, to update your internal operating system to where you are now, to your current life, motive, goals, values, and knowledge. And you can take the past as a reference point without being attached to it. And if you feel it's time to let go of the past that's been holding you back for so long, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to feel that you have incredible strength. The strength to tear the rope apart with your bare hands. feel a ferocious strength. What would normally require a knife to cut through the rope, you're able to do with your bare hands. Feel strong, empowered, resolute. The past was necessary, but no more. And when you feel that you've broken free of that past, let me know by nodding your head. That's in. And you can take all the wisdom from that treasure chest without any of the emotional baggage. Leave it there. As now you're free to walk down the pier. But just before you step into this kayak, I want you to feel like you're splitting into two versions of you. The perfectionist, the all or nothing version of you. And also the old version of you. The version of you that would seek out food for comfort. The version of you that would indulge, use food as a substitute for accomplishment, and feel that both versions of you are now separating and joining the kayak. And you can switch position effortlessly, just like a button on a video game console. You can switch from the perfectionist to the why bother approach, and then zoom out and feel like you're seeing both from above. And then see these two entities, these two different versions of you paddling in the kayak. Becomes obvious very soon that they want to go to two entirely different places. The perfectionist is looking for an imaginary paradise town on the side of the lake that doesn't even exist. Apparently, this place is a paradise perfection, but it just isn't real. And the other part is just seeking what is easy, what is effortless. That other part is seeking gratification, not the pleasure that comes from accomplishment, but just the synthetic happiness. And I want you to observe as you see the two different versions of you frantically paddling in different directions, that the perfectionist can make progress if they are diligent and focused, but they soon either get exhausted or bored, and the other part paddles towards whatever's easy. And from your position, observing both, consider this your higher self, your wisest self, your super consciousness. And imagine negotiating with both parts. That if they are adamant that only their way is the right way, neither gets to get what they truly desire. So feel that you are negotiating with these two conflicted parts to agree on a new destination that is real, that would lead to pleasurable feelings. Consider this new destination a place of excellence that comes from consistency. And at the point where you can imagine what that future looks like for you, let me know by nodding your head. And then in that moment, see both conflicted parts become one. One part now moving in the same direction. And then feel that you are now that part. That the two separate parts have now become one. And feel that you have the strength of both parts in one entity working together. And now feel like you're paddling in exactly the right direction. From still lakes to ferocious rapids to tranquil rock pools to small waterfalls, still lakes and back again. This is a challenging journey, but an achievable journey. And as you imagine, there you are, kayaking through this incredible journey. Allow your higher self to be open to new ways of thinking. Updating old code to useful code, refining it in real time as needs be. Because from this point on, you embrace realistic and healthy choices, knowing that each small step contributes to your overall success. Perfection is no longer your goal. Instead, you strive for excellence and consistency in your daily habits. That instead of finding joy in gratification, you find joy in making excellent food and exercise choices, appreciating the balance you create for yourself. The extremities of either side of the bell curve no longer appeal. It is the middle ground. That is your kingdom, that is your domain. And therefore your approach to health and weight loss is now about being consistent and reasonable. Feel how good it feels to let go of the need to be perfect. Perfection is misery. Progress is the real paradise. As fresh vegetables and natural proteins become a regular, enjoyable part of your diet. And you can recognize the importance of portion sizes where quality is more important than quantity. That you can feel satisfied with the balanced meals that you create. Movement is now a natural part of your daily life, and you enjoy it in all the various forms. Anything from a walk with a dog to weightlifting. Feel the more you move, the better you feel. And you can avoid injury by choosing those exercises that don't need to push yourself to the limits. They reflect where your body's at now and can always be more challenging in the future as your body adapts. And I wonder how you would feel as your imagination entertains the idea of making choices that align with your goal of being healthy, finding that equilibrium, being consistent with slow and steady progress. And you might need discipline to begin with, but very quickly you find your rhythm. find that harmony within yourself. Two conflicted parts now become one, enabling you to update your old habits to reflect this new version of you. So much so that in the past you were doing diets, keto, Atkins. Now it occurs to you, this is a lifestyle, that eating healthy and exercising are just ways of living, not a regime to follow. And when you feel that way, notice how good it feels to be kind to yourself, releasing the need to be perfect, and instead being a voice of encouragement, understanding. You can give yourself the very understanding you needed in your past. There is no need to be perfect. Slow, steady progress. And sometimes you take a step back before you take another step forward. In kayaking, sometimes the current will send you back. So you just find a different route, a different path, and then you can make that progress that may have felt beyond reach until it isn't. Feel that something is shifting in your mindset to appreciate the progress and the process, seeing the outcome as a side effect rather than a necessity. Progress is what makes you feel good, no matter how small. As you enjoy the process of making these healthy choices does not mean perfect choices. This future destination includes good meals in good restaurants, socializing with friends, celebrating occasions. Even if most of the days you're being healthy and consistent most of the time is more than sufficient to keep making progress. And when you have those streaks, 2-3 days in a row of excellent choices, you can celebrate that excellent without needing it to be permanent. Feel a sense of accomplishment with each healthy decision, reinforcing your new, balanced approach. Walking, lifting weights, movement or exercise all bring you a feeling of satisfaction and a sense of well-being. No more all or nothing. No more do or die. As you change the blood sport for an elegant, graceful kayaking ride through scenic lands. And you can trust in your ability to maintain this realistic and healthy lifestyle, knowing that it brings lasting benefits. And if it feels like you've gone astray, that doesn't mean all is lost. Take a few days out and then rejoin wherever you left off. Better to rejoin and feel that the game is lost. The game is truly lost if you never return and play. because your journey towards a healthier you will be marked by consistency, kindness, and a focus on realistic, sustainable habits that quickly become automatic. And then feel that you're now on the end of your journey. And I want you to see yourself living that healthy, balanced lifestyle. And it wasn't a diet that got you there. It wasn't extreme choices. It was consistent choices that became a way of living that got you to that destination that only became possible when working with yourself rather than fighting yourself. And if it feels that this destination is achievable, that you've let go of the past, that the conflict of the past is now a harmonious, new, and realistic outcome that will come from sensible, consistent choices, let me know by nodding your head. So imagine pulling up that kayak to your final destination, knowing that you can choose to get back in whenever you want, to continue making progress whenever you choose to. But now it's time to return to the present, leaving the baggage of your past behind, feeling that your internal operating system has just had an update, and feeling that conflict is now harmony, and you're looking forward to helping your unconscious mind establish these habits that just become a part of how you live. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, in harmony, and that your higher self is working with you to make that slow, steady, consistent progress. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.